Hey, true believers. Chris Matt coming at you with the New Warriors #1. And this was a damn good read. Though I will admit that I remember when I was a kid when we still had a comic shop, because where I'm from, it was kind of one of those little small towns, or at least was then. It's gotten a little bigger since. But anyway, every time a comic shop would pop up, it would be there maybe like a year, possibly, and then it just disappear. And I remember going there, and that's where I got all my Age of Apocalypse comics, and it's like, yes. But I remember seeing the New Warriors on the wall, and I did not like it. I think it just, back then, it was Batman and the X-Men or nothing for me. I didn't really broaden my horizons till I got older, and that happens when you're a kid. But going back, this was a fun read. And I just absolutely love how it goes, heroes for the 90s. Yeah, that's about as 90s as you can get. I mean, Speedball. My God. Oh, the 90s when we all thought we were the bee's knees. But anyway, so y'all know this comic right here is not the first appearance of the New Warriors. Their first appearance was actually, I think, Thor number 411. Thor number 411. And this issue is supposed to take place prior to that. So, because I was about to do it again. In Thor, they're already together. So this is kind of like a backup to show how they came together. So this is called From the Ground Up. This is Fabian Nicieza writer, Mark Bagley penciler, Al Williamson inker, Michael Hessler lettering, Michael Rockowitz doing the colors, Danny Fingeroth editor, and Tom DeFalco as editor-in-chief. And this is conceived by Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends. So I guess this was like a corporate mandated thing, but whatever. It was still a fun read. And from this book, I have to start saying that Night Thrasher is definitely one of my favorite characters. And very Batman-esque, and I'll get into that in a minute. But we see that this dude is that Night Thrasher's holding this dude essentially by the throat. He's got his knife ready to stab him, and you're thinking, what the hell is going on? And I don't know if I said this, but the print date is July 1990. And this is why I like Night Thrasher, because he goes, are you or aren't you Richard Rider? Yeah, thanks, thunk. That's my type of anti-hero, where he's just like, all right, bye, Felicia. But what's cool about the paneling here is, yeah, and you see the guy screaming, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. And then you see his eyes light up and he goes, oh man, oh man. And you come to find out that this was Nova. I never knew what Nova's real name was. So that was kind of a surprise to me. I love how you still learn new stuff in comics every day. And Nova's like, you knew I used to be Nova, but how'd you know I still had my powers in me? I didn't. And Nova comes out, you what? You could have killed me. Maybe. But I didn't. I only gave you back the one thing you wanted more than anything else in the world. Now I want something from you. Yeah, that's good writing right there. And it's nice to see how heroes can enjoy their powers and they lose it and how they take it for granted, and then just to see how over the stressful situation it gets, it comes back to him and how excited he is. The look on this dude's face, that's great. Now, I've not made it any type of secret that I thoroughly enjoy Fabian Nicieza. Awesome dude to meet in real life, by the way. And I love the little subtle things that he does when he writes, and that's what's always made it fun when I would read the X-Men, etc., so forth. So in this panel, just keep this dude in mind. So you see this guy floating. Enter Marvel Boys going to the Avengers mansion. And like, you an Avenger or something? Not yet, friend, but give me half an hour. And so the Avengers defenses come up. He goes, all right. Once the Avengers see my telekinesis powers in action, they'll beg me to join them. And you're thinking, oh, he's going to tear it apart. wah, 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 wah. And just the look on his face. I love Mark Badley's art. I think this is so awesome. This is an all-star team on this book. And you see that he got taken down something fierce. So he wants to join the Avengers. There's a back and forth between him and Cap, which I'm not going to go over. But here, this just completely out of the blue. So let me read this panel and then kind of give you the context of why I think this was such a random reference that Nikezia throws in. What an idiot I was. Walking in there like I own the place. Now what? I can't be an Avenger unless I get the experience. And I won't get the experience unless I become an Avenger. I'll just blame it all on Joseph Heller. So I understand the instance. The same thing like trying to get a job in real life, which, these are supposed to be adolescents trying to become heroes, and they're like in the same type of situation where a lot of graduates need to get professional jobs. Now the reference, Joseph Heller, I was like, what the hell does that mean? So I looked up on the Britannica's website. Here we go. So bear with me. Joseph Heller was an American writer. The reference is to his novel Catch-22. In the novel, the catch in Catch-22 involves an Air Force regulation that states a man is considered insane if he willingly continues to fly dangerous combat missions. But if he makes the necessary formal request to be relieved of such missions, the very act of making the request proves that he is sane and ineligible to be relieved. So you're thinking, why does that even matter? Here. The term Catch-22 entered the English language as a reference to a condition that trips one up, no matter which way one turns. So from this novel by Joseph Heller, that's where we get the term Catch-22. And instead of, Nikezia here just letting Marvel Boy say, that's the Catch-22, he's like, I'll blame Joseph Heller. So for those of you that have never read that book, I never read it. I never knew where the etymology of Catch-22 came from. So I learned something. And I feel like I need to have like a little rainbow that says, the more you know. So, long story short, too late. Marvel Boy joins up with Night Thrasher and Nova. Now it kind of lays down the whole groundwork of the New Warriors. Because one thing I hate is a lot of number ones nowadays, heroes I feel like they don't deserve their powers because they don't have any type of adversity. There's no real groundwork. This person has their powers and then they're just like super awesome right off the bat. And that's a lot of modern heroes. Here we have some opposition or, something that they have to work. What's that freaking hero's journey thing? I'm just going to say adversity because I can't think of the other term. But we're in the park in Queens, and they've noticed that a lot of kids have been getting like leukemia, cancer, etc., so forth. So they bring in this gene tech to find out what's going on with the soil. And then just out of the blue, it says, in a class from Empire State University, which is they're part of the environmental science, has come for a field assignment. It makes sense, but then I'm thinking, if this is giving kids cancer, then why the hell are you bringing college kids on this site? But in doing so, this is where Namorita is brought into the scene. And I love that she can be a smartass like her cousin, but she's a little more empathetic. And that's what I love about Namorita. And I hate that you don't see her as much anymore. And then because, these characters were established in 411 of Thor, I said it this time, they bring in these two characters, Chord and, what was her name? I don't remember. But anyway, here, listen to this. This is why I said Night Thrasher reminds me of Batman. Like, you live here yourself? No, Marvel Boy. I have 2 legal guardians. You rich or something? Or something. Do your guardians know about all this equipment? They encourage it. They taught me all I know and given me all I need to wage my war. And then he goes on to talk about how he found out all their secret identities. So I feel like in a sense that, Tom DeFalco lifted sort of some of Batman's origins, but it's okay. They gave Night Thrasher his own kind of individuality. Though as you go through, there is a part where you're just sort of like, that's a little too on the nose with Batman. They should have just left it out, but it's okay. Like I said, Night Thrasher is his own character, and I thoroughly enjoyed him. That's why I'm glad I got the figure. There will be a review out soon for that, I promise. But anyway, this made me laugh. 90's, right? 90's. Marvel Boy's like, does this have more capacity than a Cray? I'm not sure what a Cray is. He goes, not quite, but it's got more gigabytes than a Macintosh. 90's. Yeah, I bet you these things are like primitive compared to nowadays. So anyway, Nova and Marvel Boy are getting irritated at Night Thrasher because of how they're able to sort of figure out their secret identities. And so Marvel Boy is trying to say, how long have you been at this? Did you find out about me the same way? Meaning, I'm not going to give it away, but how they found out about Nova. And Night Thrasher says, did you see the hot dog vendor outside of Avengers Mansion? Remember what I told you, pay attention to that guy just a minute ago? He gets $500 a month to tell me who goes in and out. Today he called me about you. So now, the next person that he wants to recruit is Firestar. So he gives her a call, and you think, hey, come join us. He goes, Angelica Jones, we know who you are. We know what you can do. So will the world if you don't come to the penthouse of the Ambrose building on 57th and Lexington. 30 minutes. You're thinking, what the hell? Why? And then you see she's pissed. And that's just, I love how Night Thrasher messes with people. And I think that's why I love Batman, because he knows how to push buttons. And then we're introduced to this other character. I don't know if they ever really gave him, Robbie, there it is. And you're thinking, this guy is such a douche nozzle. Well, we'll get into him in a minute. But I want to reference when Firestar comes on the scene. And she goes, who are you? And she's pissed. And I love the look on Marvel Boy and Nova's face. They're just like, oh my God. And Night Thrasher's just like, calm down. We want you to join our group. And then, like, whose idea was this? And everyone points at him. It was his idea. I love Nikizia's humor like that. It's just the subtlest ways. It just, yeah, makes this book worth it. And so Robbie, spoiler, come to find out he's a weird-ass character named Speedball, the masked Marvel. So I don't want to get too much into it. Let's just go ahead and talk about. So again, sorry, my brain's all over the place like Speedball. Just ding, 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 ding. A lot of times, again, it'll do number one, and then like the whole book's just like build up of the heroes getting together, which a good portion of this book does. But at least you start taking on this character named Terex, who I guess was an old villain of the Fantastic Four. So that's what I meant by there's adversity. Nia Marita's already on the scene, and she's getting her butt handed to her because she doesn't know how to take this guy down. So once the rest of the Speedball kind of just jumps in out of the blue because he sees what's going on in the news, and like just out of nowhere he's like, oh, I'm gonna go fight crime, Mom. And she's like, okay. Well, technically she said yes, and he just takes off. And so he comes on the scene. Marvel Boy figures out a way to utilize Speedball's powers. And, spoiler alert without saying anything, they do figure out how to take out the villain. Now, I know Cap's not being condescending, because that's not who Captain America is, but he goes, we could take care of things from here, kids. You seem to help with the situation here, kids, but the Avengers can take over now. And so everyone's like, kids? He's calling us kids, and everyone's just like, let it go. He didn't mean it anyway. And then here, it's like, I think you worded your line wrong there, Marvel Boy. You should have said, we didn't mean anything to Cap. Hey, he's Captain America. And he as much as wiped your nose when you tried joining the Avengers this morning. Cap dumped on you too? Me too. Hey, we could be the Legion of Substitute Avengers. But what I like is how Night Thrasher here goes, we don't need the Avengers. And then they kind of go into a thought bubble. He goes, I would have preferred 4, but we can do this on our own. And that's how we got the new Warriors and kind of how we got the name in this book. So, there was a lot of build-up having to put the team together, but overall, an excellent read. I don't know, there's just something about it. It was different, it was quirky, it was fun, and I just really love Fabian Nicieza. So him writing this was just like spot on. If you guys have enjoyed this comic book, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little warrior bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys can come to the channel. We love talking with you all and hearing your feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading. Thank you so much for stopping by, and happy hunting, true believers.